Cecilia Hoops, and today we'll be doing a flowers class. We'll be learning all the basics of flowers, and then we'll kind of extend it into some more advanced movements. But we're first just going to start learning how to do the basis of them so that we can build the more advanced things. I do like to warm up this class in the shoulders first because we're going to be using that a lot. You might feel some burn, but it's going to be good. So first off, that what I like to do is, this is something I learned from someone who spins poi. She calls it poi lattes, and it helps you learn the structures of flowers as well. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have my feet about 1 or 2 fists width, like hip width, and I'm just going to give them a slight bend, and all the strength is going to be up here in the body. So you can kind of imagine all of your core going up to your ribs, and this is going to be a strength. And then when we use our arms, you don't want to turn your whole body. See, like here, I'm kind of turning my legs. It's just going to be the upper torso that's going to turn. So my legs and my knees are going to keep going forward when my body is going to go open to the sides, depending where my flower is going to be. So the way we like to start it is a flower is basically this, like swimming, right? So up together, one arm down, one arm up, one arm in front, one arm in the back, and then they switch. So we're just going to do a couple of these to the front. We're going to kind of swim. This is going to warm up our shoulders. We're going to keep our base nice and strong, not moving our knees to the front. It's just our body opening up. Yeah. And then we're going to reverse it. So this would be your backwards flower. So we just did a forwards one. Now we're going to do it backwards. And then when we do hone in these basic flowers, we're going to start going the opposite. So I'm going to start with both hands on top. I'm going to bring my right forward, and my left is going to go to the back. And then they're going to meet at the bottom. Now my left is going to be forward and my right back. And then they meet at the top. So we just do a couple of those. So they're moving in the opposite direction. Now this is where you're really going to feel where it helps to keep those legs stable and just using the upper body to move to the side. And now we're going to switch them and we're going to reverse it. So the left is going to go to the front and the right to the back. And this really comes in handy when you start doing your anti-spin flowers, opposite direction. Okay, so now I'm like warmed up here in my body at the top, but now I'm going to do some stretches to help my shoulders open up even more. And these will also help when you start doing windmills. So we're just going to do the basic one where your arm comes and you hold by your elbow. And then we're going to switch. And then we're going to bring the arm up and the hand behind the head. We grab onto the elbow and we help bring it to our ear. And switch. And I'm going to do my favorite stretch. It really opens up the chest as well. So this one is just a basic, we clasp behind our back, stretching your arms down, shoulders back and down. And then you can just bring up your chin a little bit. And then we're actually going to fold forward. So we're going to hinge at our hips. So none of this. You want to really keep your back straight when you do this one, kind of like a table. And we're just going to go right there. And then bring it back up and breathe in and look up. And fold forward. Breathe in and look up. And fold forward. And for this last one, you can try to go a little deeper. Remember not to bend your back, but instead try to keep it straight as much as possible. And let go. And just slowly come back up. That one really, really, really opens up our shoulders. Okay, now we're going to talk about the basic principles of a flower. And today I have a light hoop, a yellow hoop, and that's going to be my right hand. Light is right. Light is right. And on my left hand, I'll be having my purple hoop. So I'm just going to start by showing a basic flower and what that looks like. Okay. So we're going to be doing that forward and backwards. So when you first start a flower, you only have one rotation and each point, and that might be really hard when you're first starting out. So what we'll first do is we're going to have one hand down and one hand up, and you can do a few rotations right here before we move into our first position where my right is in the front and my left is in the back. And then we move to the left up, right down, and then we go back, left forward, right back, and then we're back at our base where my right was on the top and my left was on the bottom. So basically what happens is like you drill at each spot a few rotations. After a while you might do 1, 2 rotation, 1, 2 rotation, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, until you can bring it down to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And sometimes it will drop. Funny enough, even though we are supposed to always keep our thumb up in this one, because of our weird body angle here, when I move through them, sometimes I roll over my thumb, sometimes I don't. So just notice that sometimes it's not always going to be perfect when you do the transitions, and that's okay. Another common problem that people find is even when they do this basic one, the hoops start kind of going towards outside like this instead of the nice forward. And a way to bring it back to going that perfect forward that we like is actually putting a little bounce in your legs. So if you start feeling it going outward, I just add a little bounce and they will come forward. Another one is just to make sure that your palms are facing forward. So if they start facing out, my hoop is going to go to the side. But if I make sure my palm is facing completely forward, this will also help keep my hoops in the plane that I need them to be. Okay, so once we get the forward flower with only one rotation, we want to actually practice it backwards. Yay! So you're actually going to change the rotation of your hoops too. I'm going to bring my hoops backwards. And I'm going to start the same way as I did the other one. I like to start with my right at the top. You can start with your left at the top. It doesn't matter. Instead of going forward this time, I'm going to bring it back. I can do a couple rotations. Then I bring my left up and my right down. I can practice a couple rotations. Do it to the front, left to the back. And just like the forward rotation, after a while, you want to bring it down to 1, 1, 1, 1. And you might use your 1, 2, 3, 4. But we can skip some of them. I can just do 2 if I wanted to. So what I can do is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And what's happening here is, let's say I'm starting at this top. I do a pedal at the top with my right hand. And I do a pedal at the bottom with my right hand. And it's just going to be 1, 1. 1 rotation, 1 rotation, 1 rotation, 1 rotation. And the left is just going to do exactly the opposite. So even though it's also going forward, when the right's at the top, the left is at the bottom, I do my 1 pedal here, and I go 1 and 1. You can do a couple rotations. So it smooths out where you just have 1 at the bottom and 1 at the top. You can technically do this in front of you too. I don't think it's as comfortable, but people do it. It's 1 here, of course. 1, 1, 1. So instead of to the top, I'm just doing my 1 pedal rotation.